So hello everyone, my name is Dr. Anish Bhattacharya. I am the Assistant Professor of Department of Botany. So today I am going to discuss about such an important topic that is very much important in case of the entrance exam like MSc and some important competitive exam like NET, SET and GATE. The ecological succession. First of all, let's go towards the definition. Succession is a universal process of directional change in community composition on an ecological time scale. If we go through this definition, then this definition will be a little difficult for us, for the students. So, for the students, I can say this: if you go to your nearby environments, you will see some kind of bare land or bare rock or bare wall or naked wall where no life form is there. After a few years or few months, even there are some algae developed or some bryophyte developed, and after few years there are some higher groups of plant developed there. So it's an eventual process that starts with the lower groups of plant and end with the higher groups of plants. So I was talking about a very minute example, but succession is a large process because almost 440 million years ago there was a terrestrial environment there, but the environment was not suitable for any kind of life forms. So at first there some microcirculating agent creating bacteria were present there, and after the death of that organisms, that terrestrial soil was developed. The terrestrial soil was getting more fertile, and after that the fertile region was making a place for further organisms, higher groups of organisms, and eventually the other plant groups like bryophytes, like pteridophytes and gymnosperms and angiosperms come after some era later. So the community, the succession starts with a serial community and ends with a climax community. Like every stages of succession contain a specific serial community. Like when I started the discussion, I was talking about some stages: lower groups, then medium groups, and intermediate group, then the higher groups. So each of the lower to higher groups, each of the stages are called as serial stages, and each of the community is called serial community. So when the succession starts with the first community, it is called pioneer community, and it ends with the higher groups of plants, that is the climax community. So the cause of succession I will discuss later. Let's talk about the type of succession: primary, secondary, allogenic, autogenic and autotrophic, heterotrophic. So first, the primary and secondary succession. Primary succession is such kind of succession. Suppose a new land mass is formed due to volcanic eruption or any kind of land mass is formed somehow, and that land mass is totally devoid of any kind of life forms, and somehow that land mass is inhabited by some lower groups of organisms whose nutritional choice is very low. So that organism first will go there, establish there, and after the death of the organism, the humus will form, the soil will be more fertile for next, and it will make some way for the next generation, next groups of organisms. So this is primary succession. What is secondary succession? I always say that secondary succession, I can say that it is the end is the new beginning, because in case of secondary succession, it is an already existing community. And when the already existing community is disturbed or destroyed by some kind of natural calamity or anthropogenic disturbance, human causing disturbance, after the disturbance, a new community is formed. So this community is called, and this process is called secondary succession. As you can see here, this jungle was destroyed by fire, forest fire, and after the destruction of this forest, these new plants are developing. This is secondary succession. As you can see here, restoration ecology at Blue Water Creek, northern New Mexico. Next, autogenic and allogenic succession. Autogenic succession means when a community is already presenting there and it is somehow the growth of the organism is somehow regulated by the nature itself and by the organism itself. But the allogenic one is when the external other environment is affecting there. Next, the process of succession. The process of succession is divided into these sub stages. First one is nutrition. What is nutrition? If we want to start a community, if the nature want to start a new life from there, first the land must be bare or new. So nutrition is the first process. Second one is invasion or migration. First we have to land there to establish life there. Then ECOLOGICAL. ECOLOGICAL means proper establishment of life forms by any kind of like bacteria or lichen or biofilm, etc. Then aggregation, they colonize there. Competition, when there are whatever the place is, there are 2 or 3 kinds of population or species are there, and when the species are there for and they fighting for same kind of resource, they will compete with each other. And during competition, they will react with each other, they will compete, they will emit some chemicals somehow, and after that, stabilization. After competition, one will win, one will lose. The population that will win will stabilize there. Next, these are the 3 models for succession. The first model is facilitation model. It's the simplest, or as we expect from any kind of successional model, that one organism is dying and it is making a way for next organism or next community or next species, and it is by dying it is making a way for the next species. In inhibition model, we can see that A is inhibiting the growth of B. B is a new upcoming community and A is not getting the chance for growing for this organism or this species. And also in case of this, B is also inhibiting the growth of C. So it is an inhibition model. And what is tolerance model? We can see in our surrounding that in a particular area there are few cluster of plants. Suppose some cluster of Parthenium, some cluster of Euphorbia, some cluster of Bhattacharya. So all are present in a clustering form in a particular small quantity of area. So all of them are living there and they are fighting for their own space. But all of them are tolerating the chemical and they are fighting against the chemical that is spreading by the other species. Next is, this is the model by which I am showing the inhibition, facilitation and tolerance model. Next is zero CD. Zero CD means it is a type of succession that start in a bare land, in an arid area. So let's start with the bare rock. Then some lichens are developed in the rock whose nutritional need is very less. Then the small annual plants or lichens came there. Then after that the perennial and herb grass whose nutritional choice, because this organism will die, and after that due to the death of this organism it will degrade and will mix with the soil humus and it will increase the fertility of the soil and it will make way for the next group of plants. Next is hydrocele. This is a bit different from the zero cele, because in case of zero cele, as we can see here, that whatever the process is, the community start with the nutritional stage, then the lichen is coming here and it will continuous and eventually end with the climax community. In case of hydrocele, the main group of plant is phytoplankton, like the pioneer community was the phytoplankton. Then we can say the rooted submersible is completely immersed in the water. Then the floating one, then the rooted floating stage, that is the majority of the part of the plant is under the water and only the leaf are visible. Then reed swarm stage, we can see lotus, we can include lotus in this stage. Reed swarm means 50% of the plant is under the water, 50% above the water. Marsh meadow. If we see the Sagittaria plant, we can see this kind of stages there. Then the woodland stage and finally the climax and forest stage. This leads to the climax community, final community. So this is a very important difference, a very important table for those aspirants who are preparing for themselves for NET, SET or GATE or any kind of competitive exam. Like the difference between the pioneer stage and the climax stage. Okay, I'm sorry, these 2 rows are not visible there. So this is the proper difference between the early stage and pioneer stage. It's a very interesting and very important table for competitive exam. We can see here that seed dispersal and it is and you can solve it by your common sense also. Seed dispersal good poor. Plant efficiency low light low high. Resource acquisition fast because the pioneer community's resource need is very low, so it use the resource very fast. Species life history R and K. R selected species and K selected. R selected species basically they have less lifespan and they flourish so fast, and K selected one is they have more lifespan and they grow slow. Okay, and these R selected species show exponential growth and K selected species show logistic growth. Okay, and so these are the difference between these two. So look, you see, you cannot expect to see a volcanic erupted newly formed landmass, and you cannot wait 10 to 20 years to for forming a new life there to see the succession in live action. So you can try a little bit by a brick. I tried to use a brick there. I use this brick and I covered this thing so that it cannot be disturbed by any kind of disturbance, and I put this thing open. As you can see here, I tried the succesional process in this brick. These things are the lichens that is developing here. These things are the lichen, the first, the pioneer community. After that, it was replaced by this algae, and then the bryophytes, the intermediate stages, and finally the main plants, the climax community. These Pilia microphylla, a small herbaceous plant. This is Teres virata, another small herbaceous pteridophyte. So these are the, you can imagine or you can assume these things as the final stage. So this is I take this thing as a good example as succesional process. So this is a channel that I described some live example of succesional process. This is the link, and so thank you.